Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am Mercedes and this is the Frugal Life with Mercedes. Today we are going to discuss weddings. So I am currently engaged. If you've been with me, you know this, but if you're new here, I'm engaged and I am getting married this June. Now, weddings are very expensive and they don't need to be. Now, I made a video similar to this years ago. I made it after I was married the first time and kind of discussed like priorities, which you guys know, again, if you've been with me. I discuss priorities a lot because what's important to me might not be important to you and vice versa. And if a big, expensive shindig for your wedding is important to you, then go on with your bad self. But I challenge you to think critically about if it's actually important to you or if it's a social stigma, family pressure, worried about looking a certain way for the gram. Is it actually important for you to have the biggest, baddest, most expensive, most elaborate wedding? Is it really important to you? Or are there some underlying factors of why you think it is important to you? I can only speak for myself. Ever since I was a little girl, that was not really the kind of wedding that I personally wanted. I can remember playing Barbies and it was always just like Ken and Barbie and like elopement kind of thing. I don't even know if I knew what that was because I was playing with Barbies when I was little. But I always dreamed of like a backyard wedding, a wedding in the woods, something very small, elegant, whimsical, something like that. And so my first wedding, we got married at a park that my ex-husband used to play at when he was a little boy. And then we went to his grandmother's house and had, a small luncheon. And so that wedding was very money conscious and it worked for us. Now with my fiance, it's the same thing. He actually expressed interest in just going to the courthouse and getting married. But then, we kind of talked about it and we are going to have a small wedding. We are going to have a barbecue. So we're going to have a barbecue and like a small little ceremony, and that's about it. So let's get to the meat and potatoes. How can you make your wedding more cost effective? So you want to start in the very, very beginning. When you're picking a partner, I've expressed this in many videos, you want to make sure that you and this partner are on the same page about finances. So if you're somebody like me who is conscious of money management and strives to live debt-free and strives to live within their means and doesn't care about impressing people, it's a good idea to make sure you're on the same page with your partner, because I have known people who whose partner was very extravagant and thought it was okay to be thousands and thousands of dollars in debt and own multiple cars, never paying any of them off, and vacations you can't afford. And that's not a good way to start your relationship. So you want to make sure that you have a good foundation with somebody. And I think that not enough people start with the finances. Now, I know when I first started dating Brandon, very, very early on, I'm talking like second or third date, I was asking, do you have any student loans? Are you investing in your 401k? And I know some people think that that's really like gauche, but I'm here to tell you it's not. If somebody's uncomfortable with you asking, if they have student loans or how they, feel about certain financial things, then for me at least, that person is not for me. I was not asking him how much he made or, things like that. And some people will, and that's their personal preference. But I just kind of started off with trying to get to know him, financially. And that's not like a gold digger or a what can you give me kind of thing. So if somebody's thinking that, that's also another way to kind of weed out jerks. For me, it's because I wanted to make sure that we were on the same page financially before I got completely head over heels for him. And so from the very, very beginning, him and I had a very, very open dialogue about finances and what our goals are. Now, of course, because we're individuals, our goals and thoughts about money are not the exact same, but they complement each other. He does not mind that I am extremely frugal and try to do things on a budget, and I'm conscious about those kinds of things. And Brandon likes to splurge on some things, like he's really into shoes, so he's not just going to buy some cheap pair of shoes. If he wants a pair of shoes, he gets a nice pair that are going to last him, and he takes good care of them, which I totally understand, things like that. So first and foremost, before you can ever get down the aisle, you need to be having these conversations. I don't think that it's ever early enough. It's never too early. And if you've been with somebody for a long time and you've never had these conversations, you must have money conversations before you get married. Second thing, I would encourage you to ditch diamond engagement rings and diamond wedding rings. Again, personal preference. I personally do not like, I love diamonds. What can I say? They're beautiful and they're shiny and they're just beautiful. But for me, I personally do not prioritize diamonds. I have 3 diamond rings. I have a diamond wedding band and a diamond engagement ring from my first marriage. Him and I agreed in the divorce that I was going to keep them, and those have diamonds on them. They are sitting in a safe deposit box. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with them. And I have a diamond ring that I bought myself after my divorce, kind of as a commitment to myself. I've never really talked about that on this channel before. Like the people in my life know about that. But basically, so I don't get too off track, I bought myself a diamond ring as a commitment to myself, and I do love it. But I don't see myself buying diamonds ever again. Just personal preference. One, they are way too expensive, and I'm not convinced about how ethical they are. I know that you can get things that are like conflict-free diamonds, but my whole thought process is, how do you really ensure that they are conflict-free? So when Brandon and I were discussing getting engaged, I made it really clear that I did not want a diamond ring, and my engagement and wedding ring are called moss agate. It's gorgeous, and they are lab-created diamonds. So this is not just a frugal thing. This is my personal ethics and beliefs kind of thing. So if you guys don't get that enough, a lot of my stuff is not just about frugality. It's I have a certain set of ethics, and I really try not to stray away from those. So getting lab-created diamonds or something else instead of diamonds, one is it's so much better for the environment. You can ensure that nobody was harmed getting those diamonds. That's how you ensure that you get a conflict-free ring, is not using diamonds. And it is significantly cheaper. And Brandon's wedding band is, I think it's called tungsten. It's a type of metal. So his doesn't even have gold in it or anything like that. My wedding and engagement band are white gold, so you can get them really nice. Another frugal tip is keeping the venue small. You don't need to invite 400 people to your wedding. You can keep it close and intimate. That will bring down costs. For us, we are actually going to be getting married in a relative of Brandon's backyard. They live kind of like out in the woods, and they've got a lot of like driveway space, and they've got a big open backyard where we're going to do the ceremony, and they have a deck and an enclosed porch and a grill, and so we're going to have a barbecue. So we are not paying anything for our venue. Venues can cost thousands upon thousands of dollars, and also most venues have a waiting list, so you're not really getting to pick your day that's convenient for you, unless you want to get married at that hotel 3 years from now, which maybe you do. That's your, that's your business. You can also decide to not get flowers. I am not going to be carrying a bouquet. I believe Brandon's aunt is going to be getting like a few flowers as table arrangements, but those will not be professionally bought. Those are just, she's going to go get some flowers. Because something about weddings, if you mention wedding to a florist or a cake decorator or whatever, the price just like triples and quadruples. It really does. I am going to have a flower veil type thing, but one of my sisters is actually making that for me, and she is making it out of fake flowers. So if you're going to use flowers, you could opt for fake flowers. A lot of them look really real. You don't have to worry about them going bad, all that kind of stuff. And then also, like, if you are going to be planning the wedding in advance, then you can get those on clearance at Walmart, Michael's, Hobby Lobby, and you could get them in advance and pay a fraction of the cost. I also mentioned that my sister is going to be making this for me. You can try to divvy out tasks for the wedding from loved ones. So this is something that is really big. My sister is making my veil. That is essentially her present to me. So I'm not buying it. She is getting it and making it, and it is a gift for me that I will be keeping. One of my brother-in-laws is going to be the DJ. So instead of having a DJ, my tech-savvy brother-in-law, he is going to be playing the song I will be walking down the aisle to, and he will be in charge of putting on music. So he's not going to be like a DJ or an MC. We're just going to kind of have music at a low level for the event. And he is going to be borrowing a speaker from a family member of his. So there's a lot of borrowing and things like that, which is, I think, is really old-fashioned, and it really helps keep down the costs. My mother, my sisters, and Brandon's aunt are going to be making the food. So since it's a barbecue, we're going to be doing hot dogs. So that's very cost effective. We're going to be doing hot dogs and hamburgers and really just basic barbecue foods. So like one of my sisters is going to be making deviled eggs. Another sister is going to be making church lady mac and cheese. And that's just really good mac and cheese. We just call it church lady mac and cheese because we got the recipe from one of the church ladies. And somebody's going to be making homemade potato salad and homemade macaroni salad. And it's kind of potluck-ish. So that's totally an option that you can do. You can also ask somebody that is close to you, a family member or a loved one that is going to be at the wedding. You can have them officiate. I'm not really sure how much an officiate costs, but I assume it's several $100s. But somebody can get officiated online for free and do it for you as a wedding gift. What are some other things? I know I had a bunch of ideas, but they're kind of, invitations. You can go on basically, Amazon, Etsy, whatever, and you can get invitations and fill them out yourself. You will save a little bit of money doing it that way. As far as wedding attire, I actually have 2 wedding dresses. One I bought before I ever even knew Brandon. I was at a thrift store and I saw it and I absolutely fell in love with it. And I want to say it was like $7. And then I have a second wedding dress that I bought about a year ago before Brandon and I were ever even engaged. And it was on sale, like at the thrift store, it was on sale for like $9. So I have 2 wedding dresses to pick from, and whichever one I don't wear, I can always resell. You don't have to go with new for a wedding. You don't have to go with a ball gown. Gowns are thousands of dollars and it's not necessary unless that's important to you. I could totally have a barbecue wedding and then go and spend $5,000 on a dress. It's my prerogative, but I'm not going to do that because I've got 2 dresses that are beautiful and it's actually going to be kind of challenging to pick from them. And one of the dresses is brand new. I paid $9 for it. It is brand new with tags. And the other one is lightly used. You can't even tell. And you know, you can always go with something like that. Then, wedding cakes. So wedding cakes can be thousands of dollars. I personally don't even really like cake. I am a big dessert person, but for some reason I've never been a big fan of cake in particular. I love brownies. So my mother found a lady, she is a local baker, she has a small business, and she makes brownie cookies. And my mom bought some so that we could sample them. They are so good. And I believe you get 2 or 3 dozen for $25, and that's my wedding cake. So we're skipping the wedding cake and getting that. So these are just some ideas. Oh, do your own hair and makeup. I thought of a couple others. Do your own hair and makeup, or ask a friend that's really good with makeup and hair to do it. You don't need to spend hundreds of dollars for somebody to put some beach waves in your hair. And a photographer. Photographers can be very expensive too. They are not in the budget. So what I did was I set out my feelers, and a friend of my sister is going to be our photographer. And the best part is her boyfriend is going to be our photographer too. So I get 2 photographers. They both are somewhat amateur, but I have seen their work and it is very good. I've gone to people's weddings that paid thousands of dollars for a photographer and the photos were crap. And then they basically hold your photos hostage, at least in those particular situations. Now, this is nothing against professional photographers. You are artists. I just can only speak of certain situations that I have seen. So I set out my feelers to see if anybody would be willing to do the wedding or interested in it. Because a lot of times, like with artists, especially like photographers, they just want the opportunity to do somebody's wedding. And so my sister reached out to a friend of hers, and the friend said, I would love to have the opportunity to do somebody's wedding. She's like, I haven't done a lot of like, I forget what she called it, I guess, live action or whatever. She's used to taking pictures of, you know, sceneries and things that are kind of still versus like people. It's a little more, it's different. But I guess her boyfriend is a little more knowledgeable and has a little bit more experience, and they offered to do the photography for free. Now, of course, we are going to pay them, but just put out some feelers, and I am going to save a ton of money by having these 2 do it. And they are very happy to have the experience. And I told them, of course, any pictures from my wedding can be in their portfolio. So it's like a win-win. And you can also see about doing that with makeup artists, hairstylists, bakery people, flower people. If you get people that are just new in the industry or want the opportunity to do a wedding, you will save tons. Now, it's not about taking advantage. It's about, I'm getting something and you're getting something, and it can really work out. So those are just some ideas on the wedding front, ways to save money. I'm sure there are a ton more, but if you guys followed this, then you will save thousands. Again, this is just my personal prerogative. A wedding day is one day. It is a beautiful day. It is a magical day. But for me, the marriage, The marriage is the most important part. I know I have seen, and I'm sure you guys have seen, people that are just so concerned about the wedding that they married a jerk. I've seen that. Don't get so hung up on the wedding that you're not really paying attention to, is this person I'm marrying the right person for me? Is this a good feel? We're already arguing because he wants to spend all this money on such and such for the wedding and I don't. You really have to pay attention to that, and just remember, it is one day. And I personally and my fiance, we do not want to be in debt for years over our wedding day. That is something that is very important to us. It's not necessary, and I can guarantee my wedding is going to be beautiful. So I hope that you guys got something out of that. Please consider subscribing to my channel. If you did not know, I have an Instagram, The Frugal Life with Mercedes. Until next time, guys, bye.